This is NEGOTIATEx TV.
Hello and welcome to the NEGOTIATEx podcast. I'm your co-founder and co-host, Nolan Martin. With me today is my good friend, co-founder, co-host, Andreassi. Aaron, as always, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm great. And we've got an exciting guest lined up today. So
absolutely. Let's jump right into it and introduce our guest.
Yeah. So our guest is going to be familiar to a number of folks who've watched Netflix's $1 Million Home or Discover Plus HGTV TV selling the Hamptons. It's JB Andreassi. And I met JB a few months ago while doing a program we were both part of for the Tuck School of Business, where I teach for their Bridge program, which is JB's a graduate of that program. I'll talk about JB in a little more there. He did such a great job of that program, and the participants enjoyed him so much. I was like, "Hey, would you come on our podcast and talk a little bit about your experiences?" And he's gracing us with his time. So let me just tell a little bit about JB. So JB is a co-principal of the residential luxury development company, Andreassi Development. He's a Nest Seekers luxury real estate agent. He's a graduate of Dartmouth College, where he played football, and he's a graduate of the Tuck School of Business program, Bridge program. He takes an in-depth analytical approach to all of his business transactions. His love of the twin relationships between building and selling came later after college. In his early career, he worked for the National Hockey League as part of the business development team and was responsible for tens of millions of dollars of corporate partnership assets. He left the NHL to join the Related Management Group in 2016, and as an employee of one of the biggest real estate development firms in the world, JB gained invaluable real estate knowledge about selling and developing in the DC and Manhattan markets. After a successful year and a half with Related Management Group, he decided it was time to return home and be closer to his family. Just as important, however, was finding a position within a real estate group that represented his values and beliefs and shared in his desire to help individuals make their dream of being a Hamptons homeowner a reality. Nest Seekers International was the obvious choice. Trust, diligence, and accountability are the most important items when it comes to representing a client and transaction on their behalf. In this ever-changing and sometimes extremely challenging business, it is critical to know and trust that you have a representative who is accessible around the clock. It'll be fun to dig into that, by the way, as we talk about negotiation. And we'll do whatever it takes to help you achieve your goals. One of those goals is to keep a sustainable relationship and friendship well after the transaction is complete. JB goes the extra mile to make sure his clients have a comfortable, customized, and enjoyable experience when looking to purchase or sell their home in one of the most beautiful and unique places in the world.
That's a lot.
JB, that's a heck of a bio. Welcome to welcome to the program. Makes it sound like you're 60 years old.
Thank you again,
have done so much
for having me today, and it's definitely an honor to be here and speak with you guys about my experiences, and hopefully I want to learn from you guys as well, because I think we'll dive into this a little deeper, but I'm someone that's continuously sort of a sponge and want to just learn from everyone and anything around me. And yeah, that bio did make me seem like I was 60, but I'm 31 years old, and still, I think a lot of us out there in our 20s and 30s still trying to figure it out. So, and that's okay. So, but thank you again for having me.
JB, I'm closing in a couple more years on 50. So I'll be 48 this year. And I share your sentiment. I'm learning. The day we stop learning is the day we might as well just crawl in a hole and die. So.
And JB, I don't know if you knew this, but Aaron was actually my professor at West Point. So in 2011, 2010, he was my professor. He was a lot younger. I don't think he had as much gray. He definitely didn't have a beard since he was a major in the Army, but yeah, so I don't know if you knew that, but
I did not realize that. That's amazing. And I know Aaron's touched a lot of different people, whether it's Tuck Bridge or in the military. So it's cool to see it in the flesh and see a student here. And now you guys are partners doing this thing. So this is very cool.
Absolutely. So JB, let's kick off the podcast. The first thing we kind of like to ask is your journey of getting to real estate and where you are today. And what I think we should first kind of do is figure out what's different with the type of real estate that you are dealing with in forms of development or the high-end aspect of things versus what most people probably listening to podcasts understand as your traditional real estate salesman.
Yeah, of course. So as you guys mentioned, I am a real estate advisor slash developer out in the Hamptons. I think really, I've been asked this question a lot. I think for me, what it goes back to is just growing up around real estate and more specifically around construction. My father has been a builder his entire life. He's 71 now. And he saw an opportunity in the late 80s, early 90s to come out to the Hamptons where it was a place that was sort of, believe it or not, kind of underdeveloped back then, 30 years ago. And he wanted to sort of take his skills and align it with a market that he saw as opportunistic. And so he moved out here and then had, married my mom and had me and my brother and sister. And so we grew up, my brother and I, we were on backhoes, we're on bulldozers, we're swinging hammers, and just really immersed into this world of building homes, very, very big homes, and trying to figure out when you're 4, 5, 6 years old, who the heck is living in these things? It's certainly not my students and classmates that are around me in Southampton public schools, because we're sort of we call it the locals or the all year rounders here. But that's really, to answer your question, when my first sort of love and passion started, I guess. And then, my other love was sports. And I took a little detour, I think, in my real estate career and trajectory. And I went into sports and I worked for the NHL right when I graduated from Tuck Bridge in Dartmouth. And I'm so glad I did that and didn't jump right into the real estate thing, because I was fully involved in just the everyday corporate lifestyle and being in Midtown Manhattan and being surrounded by super successful individuals, much smarter individuals than myself, and really having that ability to learn from them and just figure out, different styles of how they transact, different styles of working with clients and experiential things. And I've learned how to take the really good things that I learned from them and the bad things and apply it to, not the bad things, but apply the good things to my own style and figure out how I can make my own brand and business. And then, so went into the NHL and that was great. And then had an opportunity to work for one of the biggest firms in real estate related development, they're super big in Manhattan and some of the other key markets around the country, out in LA and California. And then now they're in South Florida, Miami, DC, where, I had to stop down in DC for 2 years. I was telling you about Nolan. And that's where I really kind of married the construction day-to-day world that I grew up around with that corporate sort of client B2B business type of mentality. And I think I've done a pretty good job so far. So I took what I learned from related, came back out to really help my dad evolve his building business, and then also do what I do really well, which is connect with people and sort of and sell and really kind of try and marry people's wishes and desires with their dreams of owning homes out here. So it's cool.
Yeah, so JB, we probably end the podcast right here because you've hit on three things that I stress with my students, right? The love of learning, if we're lifelong learners, the hard work. Your story is one of a lot of hard work. And it certainly goes back to your dad, and then connecting with people. You do those three things really well. You're going to be successful in life. You're going to be successful in negotiations. So I guess we'll just end the program right there. You hit it off. No, I'm teasing. Hey, listen. So as you look at the work you're doing today in real estate, where does the skill of negotiation show up? And maybe, if we get really specifically, so who are the folks that you're commonly negotiating with as you kind of marry up construction with real estate and over what sorts of things? So who and what? Yeah.
That's a great question. So I kind of have two different buckets. The one I can speak to as a real estate advisor, it's both representing either a seller of a property or a buyer / investor in a certain property. Both styles of negotiating. I think everyone kind of has their own style of negotiating, but those are the players change, but your style and approach really doesn't, in my opinion. So that's one bucket. And then the other bucket is with building. And I think the biggest time I see myself negotiating, besides with trying to, appease the client when we're building custom homes, is with subcontractors. Meaning, so if we're the general contractor on a project, we need to make sure that our subcontractors, whether that's plumbing, siding, masonry, different landscapers, that they're all aligned with our common goal, which is to finish a product or finish a home in a certain period of time, but also maintaining that integrity of the product. And what, and I'm going to kind of say money a lot, but what makes our business go is really that bottom line. And so if we're able to negotiate with subcontractors to either leverage the fact that they can secure our business down the road with future projects, and that means maybe they're doing it for a little bit less money. Whether it's, again, they're doing the patio outside, it's usually $25,000. But if you guys do it for $18,000, we secure the next 2 projects that are already lined up down the road. So I think there's 2 different buckets there, but it's something, Aram, I do every day. And it's I gotta say, it's exhausting sometimes. It is, because it's every day, all day. And I think one of the questions that I think we'll get to is, and it doesn't stop when you get home. It's both, you're still constantly going with the clients and the subs and the guys that work for you, but also in your home life and with whether it's your significant other or it's your family members. There's always some sort of negotiation happening, whether it's in the business world or in your personal life, that I'm sure you guys can attest to as well.
Hey, thanks for checking out this video on NEGOTIATEx TV. If you found any value at all, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification icon if you want to be notified of future videos. And then we also have a couple videos over here that you might be interested in checking out. If you in your small business, your team, are looking to get negotiations or leadership training, then you can head over to NEGOTIATEx.com and learn more about the coaching services we offer. Thanks, and I'll see you over in the next video.